Welcome to Voodoo Whiskey Gaming, and this is my late review of Asura's Wrath. I played on the Xbox Series X via backwards compatibility. It's also available on the 360, PS3, and Xbox One. I know at one point it was available via PlayStation Now. I don't know if it still is, but the reality of it is the best place to play this is 360, Xbox One, or the Series X because you get access to the DLC. So let's get into the story. You play as Asura, you are a defender of Gaia, you are one of 8 generals, and you are a demigod along with the other generals. Your goal is to fight these creatures named Goma, who are led by Vlitra. Yeah, some of these names are a little weird. But after a massive battle with Vlitra where you push it back, the other generals betray you and they basically promote themselves to deities. They become the 7 deities, they kill you, you come back on a quest for revenge, and that is really the meat of the game, is Asura's quest for revenge. And I gotta say, I love the story. It's really just over the top, but the world they build takes from all these different mythologies, and it really just works. It works very well, and I love the storytelling. Everything is done in these small episodes, so you can take it in bite-sized chunks, and then you can take a break after an episode and go on to the next when you feel like it. And it's all kind of fun because some of it's done with these transitions like you would see on a TV show, like an old anime. Let's get onto the audio, and the first thing I'm going to say is the voiceover work is phenomenal in this game. It's really well done. All the voice actors really embody their characters. They bring them to life in such a phenomenal way. And sometimes it's a little over the top and cheesy, but that works with the game, the style of this game. Next up are the sound effects, and I'm not sure if it's editing or if, but there are times where some of the sound effects, they aren't there, and I'm not sure if it's an editing choice or if it really is an issue. But overall, I think the sound effects really match with what is going on. They match with the world in general. And then lastly, the best part of the audio, in my opinion, is the soundtrack. This is one of those soundtracks that is just so memorable. I love it. I own it. I listen to it when I'm working, when I'm not working. I just think it's a great soundtrack. So let's get into the gameplay mechanics and whatnot, and this is sort of an interactive narrative, but it's also very much like an action game. There are times where you are directly controlling Asura, running around, beating up enemies and fighting boss fights and, stuff like that. But then there are a lot of times where it's interactive cutscenes. Whole lot of QTEs, press the sticks, press buttons not to die kind of stuff, or to do actions. But one thing I like about the QTEs in this game is that during the cutscenes, you should be aware that they are coming, and they happen frequently enough that you don't get into that lull of, oh, I've set my controller down, oh, I'm not paying attention. I mean, they're very frequent. This game also has unrail shooter moments where you're blasting at enemies and sending out the multi-attack thing, etc. That's just how this game works. It kind of combines these 3 genres into one game, and it works surprisingly well. I mean, it works surprisingly well. It's not necessarily flawless, but I do enjoy it, and I think they pulled it off. Now let's get into the controls, and I really don't have any complaints with the controls. I think they work very well. I mean, they really have to because, some of these QTEs, they happen pretty quickly, and if you're not fast enough, you're not hitting the buttons quick enough, and it's not responding, you'd be fucked, and it would ruin the game. Last but not least, let's get into the graphics and visuals, and it hasn't aged flawlessly, mostly in the fact that this isn't an HD re-release, so the lines aren't as clean as they could be. But given the art style, the very much over-the-top anime cel-shaded style of this game, anime, it holds up well. It looks exactly like it should look. It looks good even nowadays because of the art style, because of that visual style that they went with. And speaking of that, it's very unique because it takes from a lot of places. A lot of it is very clearly Indian inspired in mythology and just some of the designs of enemies and so on. But then there are also Japanese art styles combined in there. Like I said, the anime element. It's a really cool mix-up of visual styles all brought together. And of course, the animation is very much over the top and it fits with what's going on. I will say, rewatching it, there are a few moments where some of the animation is just a little weird and jerky, but for the most part, it's not like during the big important things. It's a character who's kind of in the background, not as important as what's necessarily the focus, but it can be noticed at times. But that being said, it's a bright, colorful world. It's a really beautiful world that they have built. It really fits with the style. They've done just a fantastic job, and I really love the character designs, as well as the enemy designs. I mean, they're based on animals, but like they're done in a way that they do look like monsters. They do look like demons. And then each of the deities, they have their own unique design. Just everything they did visually, I think really did bring the world to life. So to wrap this up, I am going to start with my biggest complaint against this game. It does commit one cardinal sin, and that is that the true ending is locked behind a paid DLC. Like, that's bullshit. We can all agree on that. But I will say, some of the DLC is actually really cool. It involves different art styles. It involves characters from other franchises. It's just kind of fun and wacky, like, not real stories, but kind of what-if stories. But that being said, aside from that cardinal sin, I actually really enjoy this game, and because I do love the story so much, it didn't kill me to pay for that ending. It is still kind of painful all the same, though. So I can very comfortably recommend this. I don't have any problems with that because I love it. I think other people should go out and enjoy it. If you haven't before, I think it's a fun game to try. Okay, so in the comments down below, why don't you tell me, are there any other games out there that really capture that over-the-top, like, Dragon Ball Z kind of action? Because this one definitely does. And as always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button. And if you like what I'm doing in general, share and subscribe. Have a good one. But then there are also some, like, Japanese mashup